Hello and welcome back to the channel. So this video is part of the knife throwing for dummies series or mini series. This would be chapter 1 video 2, target, how to put a target together, and different parts of the target. Okay, so as I have mentioned earlier, if you're a seasoned knife thrower, you will find this video very boring. If you're very new to knife throwing, you might find something interesting in it. Now, so a target, like one behind me in the far, turn you a little bit, good, will have three elements to it. One is the target face, this side of the way. So the target face itself, that's the one that wears out, that you replace on some sort of interval. Okay, now I also have to mention here that if you're in a knife throwing group and people are talking about the target, usually that's what they mean. They mean this piece. They don't mean the whole thing, they mean this piece. So when somebody asks you what kind of target you use, that will be the question of do you use an end grain, a low ground, a vertical grain, or anything else. Okay, that's just on a sidetrack. So you got the target face, you got some kind of backstop to ensure that the knife that's missing the target is not traveling into the twilight. It stops somewhere, and with the backstop you would have some kind of side stops or some kind of guides that's stopping the knife hitting and damaging your wall or anything else beside it. And then there would be a frame to hold the whole thing together. Okay, now sometimes the whole thing is integrated, sometimes they're three different separate pieces, whatever. It's completely it's not rocket science. It's what you can make, what you have. Okay, so starting with the frame, the simplest frame, whatever, is when you hang your target or target face, you hang it on a wall of your garage or outside of your house, next to your shed, or on a tree. That's it. That's the simplest one. Okay. Now after that, you can put your target on, for example, on a bench, or for a while I was using one of these. That's a bar stool with the cushion removed. All I done, I just put my end grain target here and drilled put a couple of bolts, or sorry, screws from underneath to hold it in place. Major high tech, right? So these are the easiest options. Not the best, but whatever. It's something to elevate your target face. Now the next thing after that is these tripods. I have to gently adjust you. Okay, so these simple tripods. Now the legs will be either made out of 4x2 at least, or 4x4 if you have them, but 4x2 will be okay. Okay, now the length is depends on how much you get, or you want the middle of your target about mid chest, so about 2 meter pieces, 2.2. I have to work it out exactly, but if you guys need exact measurements, I can make a video on that, but at the moment it is just an idea of how to make one. Okay, and then you can make up your own measurements. Now drill a hole about 50 mil from the top and put a threaded rod. Some places call it an all thread, a rod that's all the way threaded. Put it through here, put a couple of big washers on either side and a couple of nuts. Now don't tighten the whole thing together, don't pull it tight, leave about maybe an inch, maybe 2 inch gap, so it's but between 20 to 40, 50 mil gap between the two ends. And then you just simply walk the three legs apart and you make up a very simple tripod. Now the threaded rod should be a 10 mil or a 12 mil one, a 3/8 or a ½ inch. Doesn't matter, it's not going to break. Now as you walk the legs out, I mean, this is actually just a screw just to demonstrate, and I didn't really want it to bend it, so the tripod is not at full opening. Now as you walk the legs out, the threaded rod will bend a little bit, and that's fine. Now I used tripods like with this method to lift car engines out of vehicles, so they are very strong. A ½ inch or 12 mil threaded rod will not break, okay, especially just for target, easy. Then get another piece of 4x2, cross a couple of screws, put it onto the leg, and then you get your target face and just put it on there. Now grab some kind of L bracket behind the target, next to the leg, on sweet. That will not move, whatever, it will be there. It's perfect. Okay, now this is the most simplest target frame build. The downside of it, it will have a lean backwards. So if you're preparing for competitions and want to throw with other people, every other target is plumb, is vertical. Okay, so this will have a little bit of a lean backwards, which I think, although I'm very limited in experience with tomahawk throwing, I think this is slightly better for tomahawk throwing, but I'm happy to be corrected on that. Okay, so that's most simple target frame. Now the next one, or in my opinion the next easiest thing, is, and this is here comes the high-tech side of the channel, paper and pen. Excellent. Okay, so now this target is basically a pressure fit target, just like what I have behind me. Usually I don't make my targets like that, but it was a time constraint. So the two sides, which actually making the frame up, when it's put together with a threaded rod here and here, pulls the blocks together, and that is long enough so the whole stand is about 2 meters tall. Okay, now on the bottom you have the legs, and then one forward, one back is easy, or if you want to be complicated, you make 2 forward, 2 back, fine, you know. Now you can do the same type if you have a glued end grain target, but when you make the legs, and then just use something like these, so they long roofing iron screws. Okay, they got the hex head. Put a big penny washer on them, and then drive it in. Drive it in from the side. So you have the target with the frame, legs, drive this in, and they will stand up. This will not move. Okay. Now, when you're making the bottom connections, don't get too creative. You don't have to cut 45 degrees. Just put the pieces of wood next to each other, drill through, and threaded rod, cut a piece off, bolt it together. Much easier. I make my constructions on the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay, there we are. Can't make a mistake. My angles is not perfect. Nah, don't worry about it. Put it beside it, drill. Okay. Now the third method, or sorry, the third frame, which is what I have, is the same, similar to what I just showed you, but there is no target in between. So you got the two up stand. There is a piece of 4x2 here and here. Now these up stands should be at least 4x2. Now my up stands are 2x3s because I built everything on a budget, okay, and this is what I had, and it's still standing. So use what you have, but 4x2s are good here, 4x2s here again, using these kind of roofing screws, long, the pusher, from here in, okay. Now, and again, one forward, one back, or two forward, two back, whatever you want. Now, if you need measurements, I can make measurements of my target, but bear in mind my target has been specially made with my low ceiling. So I have beams which are give or take about just under 2 meter height. So my target is built especially for my range. Now, and then once this been built, a frame like this which stands together, okay, then a backstop being so like that, and there's a backstop just screwed onto the frame, covering up this area, okay. Now my backstop is made out of the particle flooring board, okay, so that's good for inside, but it's not good for outside. Also, because buying a board this size is a cost-effective, it's a costly exercise. It's not cost-effective whatsoever. But I managed to score 2 damaged boards. So what I done, I have actually covered. We don't need you anymore. Right. So what I done, I covered, this is the particle board here, and I just covered it with top boards from pallet wood, okay, because as you can see, I do miss a fair bit, especially when I'm working on something that's new to me. They go all over the place. So I already had to replace the boards next to the target. So this is just an extra layer of protection that's protecting my backboard. Again, you don't need to do that. I just added a layer of protection because the pallet, the top boards of the pallets, they're free. The backboard I have to buy, okay. Now, if you're making a target which is outside, do not use flooring particle board, or do not use MDF. Where's the better piece of MDF? Oh, here it is. MDF, don't use these, because if they get wet, they will swell and they will fall apart. If you make an outside target, use plywood, okay. Now preferably treated plywood, because that's with the resistance. Also, it should be, and this is too thin, it should be the 18 mil 3/4 inch. I'm not sure what's between half and 3/4. That should be it. Half inch is about 12 mil, 18 mil is about 3/4, but it needs to be thicker than half inch. Half inch ply will warp, okay, so you want to be the heavier stuff, and it will be heavy, but it's doesn't warp. Or you have to make your frame bigger to support the possibility of warping the 12 mil ply. Okay, keep that in mind when you're building it. Now, what I made, which I'm trying to show you guys, is to make it easier to hang a target. I hope you can see here. Where's my finger? Here. So here is a 4x2 bolted onto my backstop. Now what it does, I can actually lay my target on there. So while I'm setting it up, it's something so I can do it easier myself. Okay. Now lately, what I started doing to fix my target face to my the frame and the backboard, I'm making the, where is it? Here we go. I'm making the backboard of the target a little bit bigger, and then I just use, where is my finger? If I can, I just use screws to screw straight into the target. But there's nothing stopping you using something like this there, or screw it from behind. I mean, there are so many options available that is I could be standing here forever talking about all that. Okay, now something I also wanted to mention, if you use stuff like this on the outside, I'm very, what is the right word here? I'm pessimistic. I'm always thinking my knife will miss and it will hit the metal. I don't like it. The whole reason I have this board up here is to cover up the threaded rod behind. The reason I have this board to cover up the threaded rod behind. Okay, I don't like large exposed metal facing the way I'm throwing. I mean, small ones like screw heads, they're fine, but I really get paranoid, as the word I was looking for, when I see big pieces. So if there is something like that, I do add another. So if I would put this to bolt my target onto the backboard, I would use something like this, or even thinner, and 2 screws, and this will hide it. But that might be just my personal preference. Okay, so that will be the end of the target. The next video is about range setup, and then we move on to something a bit more fun. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If there is any questions, or if you guys want exact measurements, yes, sure, I'll make a video on that. But bear in mind that I make my things on budget. So basically I utilize whatever I can scavenge, whatever I already have. So my measurements sometime what I have, and I build with that, instead of I have a plan and I can walk into the hardware shop and buy my timber to the exact measurements. I don't think I'll ever be that rich. Okay, so bear that in mind. So other than that, this is about how to make a big target. Awesome. Thanks for listening. See ya.